Welcome to another episode of Inside with Outsiders. I'm Jeremy Asgari, and today I have a fellow New York City Nightlife alum, the Nightlife famous Eric Solar.
Retired party guy.
Retired party guy. That's the correct terminology for you?
That's the tagline nowadays.
Man, how you doing?
I'm good.
Glad to have you on this show.
Happy to be
someone
here.
who's made it out of New York City nightlife, alive and thriving.
Yep. Transitioned into like suburbs.
Exactly, because transition these days means something different.
Yeah. So, oh, no. But you know what I mean. Transitioning to the suburbs.
The suburban life.
Suburban life.
I hear that. So where are you from originally?
Born in the Bronx, grew up between Queens and the Bronx.
And what's your background?
Both my parents Puerto Rican. I'm Puerto Rican. My mother was born in Puerto Rico. My dad was born in the Bronx.
A Puerto Rican from the Bronx. That's there's a lot of Puerto Ricans in the Bronx, right? A lot of old school New York heads that I know, like Ruben Rivera, Bronx, Puerto Rican, all these guys.
Yeah. And I hung out in the South Bronx too as a kid.
So. Oh, what decade was this? When was this?
Mid 80s.
Mid 80s in the South Bronx.
Yeah, I'm aging myself already.
Man, that's all right.
I went to Park Jams, bro.
Oh, so hip hop didn't originate. It originated in the Bronx, right? It did.
Yes.
BDP.
Yes.
I was thinking Queensbridge, but no, Queensbridge got set straight by KRS-One.
Exactly.
What was it like? I mean, we've had a couple people that we interviewed that were from LES in the 80s at War Zone, but I've also seen photos of the South Bronx. What was that like growing up there?
It was also a war zone,
Yeah.
as you said. You know, what they say, Reaganomics. You know?
Yeah.
And, there was...
Just say no.
yeah, exactly. I grew up in that era, you know, and fortunately, we lived in a better part of town. I lived in what they call Rosedale. You know, it's where the Cross Bronx and the Bronx River meet. And, you know, most people who know historically, the Cross Bronx just cut right through the Bronx and went through all the tenements before our time, even my time.
Right. So you grew up there, like when you went to high school there and so on?
No, actually, I moved to Queens.
Are you thirsty?
Yeah.
I'm thirsty, man. I see your beer looks really frosty. It's making me so thirsty.
It's crazy. It's almost like product placement.
Almost.
But not really. Yeah, I'm with you.
Let's showing like behind the curtains on set.
Yeah. Pull back the curtain.
Hear that? Oh, that sounds good. Well, cheers. Bams. Cheers to you.
Cheers, guys.
Crack
Cheers.
a brew.
Oh, that's good.
Don't worry, I'm also drinking a Fat Tower off camera.
Yes, you are.
Enjoy.
So let's get back into it. You're from the Bronx. What was that? But you didn't go to high school there.
I went to high school in Flushing, Queens.
So why'd you go to school in Flushing, Queens from the Bronx?
My parents wanted to get it out of the Bronx. I don't know why.
But you were still living in the Bronx, right?
My parents, listen, I come from a rare Puerto Rican family that's still together. My parents are still alive and they're still together.
Bless
them. Cheers to them.
Yeah, cheers.
But in, I want to say about 77, 78, they decided that they wanted to move to Queens.
Okay.
So
how old were you then?
6, 7 years old.
Okay, well, we already know you're old as hell, so it's all good.
Yeah. But you know, there's a lot of back and forth because once I got of age, went to the military.
Well, hold up. Wait. Let's reverse it a little bit.
Yeah.
I know you as a retired party guy.
Yeah.
I also know you also work in a different industry. We'll get into that now. More of a stable corporate job in a sense.
Yes.
But I also knew you were in the Army. And I know that because I didn't know that until you started going on the Outsider bike rides. And you've been a great advocate for Outsiders. You've actually introduced us to one of our best, how do I describe it, our favorite bikers in a sense, or cyclists, Joey Hendricks.
Yes, Joey's the man.
Shout out to Joey Hendricks, man. Joey rode with his hard body last year during the pandemic, man. He was definitely a key staple figure in the Outsiders, and he's been on some hikes too.
Has he done the show? Has he done this?
I'm trying to. I mean, maybe by the time this airs, he will have done it. We'll see.
He should.
No, I hit him up yesterday to do the show.
He's got to do it.
I hit him up after I hit you up.
All right.
But yeah, I found out while you were cycling with us, you were in an Army shirt, and I was like, that's weird. This party guy's wearing an Army shirt, and then it turned out you were in the military. So you went to high school in Queens. You were in Queens up until you leave for the military. What compelled you to do the military? I mean, you're very, in my eyes, I see you as a very creative dude, very downtown New York City. You have an artistic eye. I'm not to say that someone who's got that kind of eye doesn't go to the military, but
Right.
in my eyes, it's a little unusual. What compelled you to join the military, and what branch of the military were you in?
I was in the Army.
Yeah.
And the National Guard, and it was more about stability for me, and wasn't necessarily about a trade. But when I went in, the first thing they did was put me in front of a Unix computer, which at the time was one of the most complex systems. It was all parameters, a lot. So that's where I got introduced into technology.
But were you getting in trouble before you went to the military?
Yeah, I was getting in a lot of trouble.
What were you doing?
Just all around trouble from junior high school or middle school. What do they call it? Middle school now? When I was a kid, they
whatever
called
it
it
is,
junior high school.
Junior high,
But
same
in
thing.
junior high school to high school, I got into a lot of trouble. Just
Usual
whether it
kid
was-
stuff, or something that was more.
a little bit of everything, hanging out with, the wrong people and, women, girls. Well, I shouldn't say women because at the time it's girls.
Yeah.
It was girls and, a couple of fights here and there. So my mom and both my parents encouraged me to do something. And
So this is straight out of
ultimately,
high school.
I did it on my own.
Straight out of high school.
Yeah, straight out of high school.
So straight out of high school, you were what, 17, 18 at the time, obviously.
17.
Well, I mean, you have to enlisted at 17, but you had to wait till you're 18.
I
right?
left. I dropped out, went into the military.
You dropped out of high school?
Dropped out of high school.
Wait, you never got your degree?
Got my GED. Good enough diploma. That's
Good
what they
enough
call it.
diploma. Okay. So why didn't you finish high school?
I really did want to get into the military. I did. And
Well, how could you get into the military under 18?
back then they had something that was called a split option. So it's something they don't do anymore.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what is that? What was the split option?
So like you would go in your junior year of high school, and you would go to basic training, go back to school, finish. And I decided that I didn't even want to finish. I just wanted to drop out, get my GED, and go back in.
Wow, so you were really motivated to join the military.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I never got to go. I stayed stateside the whole
You
time.
said unfortunately.
Unfortunately, I never got to go to like overseas or anything like that.
For war, or just to go overseas in general.
Just generally speaking, I was in when I went to school. The first Gulf War kicked off. I remember
Okay.
being in what we call AIT, is Advanced Individual Training.
Yeah.
I remember Bush Sr. announcing the first Gulf War as we sat in our day room. They called it a day room. Yes, that's how
Yeah.
old. Yeah, that's how old that was. 1990.
So, what was the motivation? I mean, did you feel like you were where you should have been when you found yourself in the military? Like, did you feel right there?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, that's my first true calling when I was young, and this is one of the things you don't know about me was technology. Like,
I thought I knew that.
yeah.
I think.
I
but
mean,
yeah, go ahead.
kinda. I mean, as promoters, we kind of need to embrace technology,
of
right?
course.
We had no choice.
Yeah.
But at 17, 18 years old, they put me in front of a computer, and I had no exposure to a computer other than computer lab in high
Right.
school. Before that, but
And you took to it like a fish in water?
yes, yeah.
Really? So what were you doing?
I was a communications guy. So what would be considered a patch panel operator. So I was patching in, the general to, the field.
Okay.
Yeah, in a little truck out in the field, and
Yeah.
kind of like when you see the old movies when like the woman goes,
The operator
"Oh,
board.
well,
Yeah,
I'll
I see
operate,
that.
I'll
That's what
take
you were
it."
doing.
That's it.
Did you ever speak to the president at the time?
Huh?
You ever speak to the president? You ever
No.
patch the president in? No?
No, but see, I went through one of in 1990. I went through one of the first classes, which was it was called DPAS, Digital Patch and Access System, and it was the first time they were going digital.
Okay.
So we went from the analog system where it looked like those old, like the old microphone
Yeah.
plugs to basically, these little plugs which were digital.
Yeah, so you essentially helped transition the military technology.
Cutting edge,
to what
baby.
you're
Cutting
responsible for the country's safety, right? Somehow.
Yeah, at the time, yes.
So how long were you doing that?
I was in the regular Army for 2 years, and then I was in the reserve for about 4 or 5 years after that. And then you have to do some inactive time,
So you were like 23 when you got out?
somewhere around there, yeah.
So what was your time like in the military?
It was fun.
Were you based in, where were you based?
I went to school in Augusta, Georgia, and then after when the first Gulf War kicked off, I got asked to be a trainer stateside there. I stayed
Augusta,
there.
Georgia from the Bronx.
Yes,
What was that like? Culture shock, I'm sure.
culture shock. You know what the crazy shit is? That like when you start to meet people from all over the United States, like you meeting. I was 17, 18 years old, and I'm meeting guys from Oklahoma and all different parts of Idaho. And when you say you're from New York, no matter who you are, the first thing is, like, oh, do you know this rapper? Or do you know this rapper?
Well, as if you know them personally.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, this is before the era of the internet.
Yeah.
And then when you say something like you're Puerto Rican, that this is before J-Lo or Ricky Martin or anything like that. So they were like, is that like Mexican?
Yes. What's funny is that I can't say I had experience. I was in the military. I would never go.
Mm-hmm.
But I did have an experience where my freshman year of college, I went to school in Ohio.
Right.
And
culture shock.
Huge culture shock. I hated it.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, my first day at school in Ohio, this girl comes up to me. My brother was with me, dropping me off at school. We go to this party, and this girl comes up to me. She walks up to me, and I'm like, all right. She looks like she wants to tell me something. She goes to me, she says, you look different.
Yeah.
I was like, really?
Yeah.
All right. What is it? She's like, are you Mexican?
Yes.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm Persian. And she just looked at me and was like, Persian, what is that? And I was like, well, this will be an interesting year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember talking about
what levels the playing field in the military is that you have a shaved head.
Yeah.
So everybody kind of looks similar.
Well, there's conformity, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So uniform, right?
Yeah.
And it's even worse because I got the same thing. It's like, what are you?
Yeah.
Are you black? Are you white?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm Puerto Rican.
It makes you appreciate the melting pot we have in New York.
100%.
When you leave that where everyone, if you either fall into a few categories, you're black, white, or Mexican, right? And then there's Asian, right?
At the time, that's all that people knew.
Yeah.
It was either you're black, you're white, or Mexican.
Yeah.
It's totally different now.
Yeah, much different, thankfully.
Yes.
People recognize for the
We've evolved.
diversity. Yeah.
Humanity's evolved.
So you leave the military. What do you do next?
Got out of the military.
Honorable discharge?
Yeah. And I continued doing National Guard.
Yeah.
So I did, I was a weekend warrior at the time. And I got a job as what we would consider now as an administrator for a systems administrator. I didn't even know what it was. So I started building computer networks for small.
IT?
Yeah, just doing IT work. Didn't even know what IT was at the time. I was working for a small company and realized that, technology was kind of like my calling and what I really enjoyed. And I left that company and decided I'm going to it was a nonprofit company. It was very, they did, what we did was, at the time, was kids that were aging out of foster care. We helped them get into, what we called independent living.
Okay.
It was an independent living center on Fordham Road in the Bronx.
Okay.
Across the street from Fordham University.
Yeah.
It was Fordham Plaza. And I had to get out of the nonprofit sector because there wasn't a lot of money in that. I knew I was in technology, and I told people, I'm going to go work in banking. And they said, there's no way you're going to go from nonprofit to banking. And I said, but I'm in technology. Of course I can.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah.
And I worked for a company called Sanford Bernstein, which became Alliance Bernstein after a while. And that's basically how I got into nightlife.
Wait. How did you go from working at a bank to nightlife?
Because I got my first job in New York City. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Other than that, I always worked.
But you were in New York City before, weren't you?
Yes, but in the Bronx.
Yeah.
But now I'm in
Bronx
Manhattan.
is like Canada.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
yeah.
Back then, I was in Manhattan was the city.
Yeah.
The Bronx is the Bronx.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wait, hang on. Did you just call the Bronx Canada?
As far as like what downtown Manhattanites feel like,
Yes.
That's just horrible. That's
It
like
is.
calling everybody in Brooklyn and Queens and New Jersey bridge and tunnel trash.
Well,
not
that's
trash, but that back then.
No, I know.
Back then, Brooklyn was
That's what
Bridge
it
and
was?
Tunnel.
No, well,
Dr-
so was Queens, so was New Jersey.
No, I
We're
agree.
all bridge and tunnel.
But now Brooklyn's considered cool, and they don't refer to it as Bridge and Tunnel anymore.
exactly. Back
It's
then,
still,
there
it's
was
still
no
to me, it's
green
still
point.
bridge and tunnel.
What's
There was
that?
It's still bridge and tunnel.
No, it is, but at the same time, back then Williamsburg was all Puerto Rican. It
Yeah.
wasn't hipsters. It wasn't all that. So
There was no Greenpoint. There was no Williamsburg.
yeah,
Yeah. I have my Williamsburg story too.
I'd love to hear it. Yeah,
I missed an opportunity to buy a piece of property there when I was really young, and I should have.
I
That's
mean-
it. That's it in a nutshell.
yeah. I'm sure you're still kicking yourself.
Right.
So wait, so you went from banking. Now you're in the city. Now you're in nightlife. How did you end up in nightlife specifically? Like, did you meet somebody at the bank?
No. Actually, what happened was I was actually going out to clubs like all the time. The way we were before being a promoter, I was just out at the club and
All the time. That's
all the
actually
time.
how I fell into it, because I was out.
Exactly, you know?
Well, I loved it. I loved it. I breathed it. I ate it. I loved
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
So I was the guy that, back then, and I'm going to say it was probably 96, 97, 98, that whole area, that time. And people would call me every day. I'm like, yo, where should I go today? Where should I go today? Where should I go today? And I ended up getting a job as a doorman only because people knew that if they put me at the door at their club, it was a small lounge.
What lounge?
I want to say it was called Liquid. It was Ryan and Leon's party.
Ryan and Leon?
Yeah.
Oh, Events RL. Shout out to
Yeah.
them. They
Yeah,
gave me
shout out to
they're one of the few guys that gave me a start as well.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Ryan and Leon.
So they
Leon's
brought
a Soho head too. It's weird.
Exactly. So they brought me in.
Not Leon, excuse me, Ryan.
Right. They brought me in as kind of like their backup doorman, and because they knew that people knew to call me. People would call me. But before that, I had done a couple of little parties here and there, like just for fun, because I knew I could bring people out.
Yeah.
I come from the era where I actually knew people that came from the parties, just like you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We weren't just promoters. We were hosts.
Right.
And
it was prior to like the model house. I don't even know if you know about
Exactly.
these model houses and stuff. It was
Exactly.
like the image promoter, where you bring 5-10 people and you're a promoter. Like, no, you got to fill the room up, and then people got to pay to get in for you to
Right.
get paid.
So when I was working in the banking industry as a technician, one of the things I realized that after work Tuesdays at Copa had shut down, and I grabbed Richie. I said, Richie
Who?
Romero.
Richie Romero.
Yeah, we gotta shout him out. Shout out
Richie.
Richie Romero.
This is like going down
No,
nightlife
there's gonna
memory
be,
lane.
there's
This
gonna
is
be quite a few
outsiders.
shout outs tonight, I think.
This is definitely an outsider show, but we got to talk about the history of how outsiders came about, because a lot of it came from nightlife in a way.
Yes.
Your history is kind of the same way. So go ahead, tell us about that.
So Copa has changed hands and venues quite a few times, and one of the times they shut down because they had a very, very lucrative Tuesday after work party.
I remember.
Yeah. And I said, hey, there's something there. I grabbed Richie, and at the time we had both Richie and I had a good relationship with the owner of 151. I'm going a little bit before your time, I know.
I heard of it. I mean, I remember hearing of it.
So we grabbed Zane and we said, listen, they dropped the ball. Tuesdays after work at Copacabana was the shit. Everybody, I don't care who you were, white, black, Spanish, whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody went to that party. So we decided to duplicate what they did. And our opening night, are you ready for this?
And where was it at? 151?
151.
Yeah.
Opening night was on 9/11.
Oh my God.
We promoted the heck out of this party for probably 3 months.
Wow.
And couldn't open up on obvious.
Yo.
You want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
People were calling me. Are you guys still on?
What?
Yeah.
This is after like a global tragedy at that.
100%. Our opening night was supposed to be 9/11.
Oh my God.
And people were actually calling us like, hey, you guys still open? You're like, I need to do something.
Yeah.
Obviously, we weren't. The city
Well,
was
I can
shut
actually,
down.
now that you say that, I can understand why you needed
Yeah.
an outlet. Like that day, we're not going to go into that day, but that
Yeah.
day was terrible.
Right. So what we ended up doing was, I don't remember if it was a week after or 2 weeks after, because it really the world took a while to come back.
Yeah.
But we did a fundraiser. Everybody did fundraisers
Yeah,
back then.
remember, yeah.
So we did a fundraiser, and then from then on, that party was just, it was one of the, Copa probably kicked himself in the ass for shutting
Yeah.
down, because we
So
took
that
the
was
ball
your-
and ran with it.
So that was your introduction to being a promoter?
No, that was there was a couple things that happened before that, but that was what kind of made a name for us, because we got my partner and I, Luck.
Yeah,
Shout out to
Eric and
Luck.
Luck. That's funny. I'm going to go on from that tangent real quick before you start talking about Eric. But I remember when I first started going out a lot, and I met who was a good friend of mine, Liza Martinez, who you know very
Yes.
well. I think she went to high school with your wife, right?
Yes.
Remember her always talking about Eric and Luck's parties, Eric Solar, and I was like, my view of you guys, like, oh, these are like the legend in the business. Like
Right.
these guys are like the local celebrities. So yeah, I remember that very well. Like looking up and thinking to myself, like, damn, these guys got it going on.
Well, one of the things that I think that we did back then that kind of separated ourselves a little bit was everybody was using these names, like, you know, whatever it was, Prestige Productions and this.
Yeah, I remember
Click
that.
Productions.
Yeah, Click.
And,
Wow.
And
yeah.
people would say, where are you going? I'm going to Eric and Luck's party.
Yeah.
And that's what they said.
But dude,
So-
that's a name in itself. The guy's name is Luck.
And I don't. Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to take anything away from people like, you know, Jack and Pascal, but I think we kind of started that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, they didn't get, you know, they didn't.
I'm
come
too
up
young
with that
to
on-
know when that started, but I just remember people also making up cheesy fake names.
Yes. So I never wanted to do the cheesy fake name thing.
Yeah.
You know, and people would like that's. I would tell Luck. I said, listen, we're selling us.
Yeah.
We're marketing us.
So you had a great branding mind back then too. So you were a great tech mind.
Yeah.
Great creative branding mind. That's
Right.
interesting.
I think I missed my calling in marketing.
You think, dude?
Yeah.
I think any promoter has
All
a
of us
knack
did.
for it. Because
Right, we
think
all
about
did.
this: you're doing multiple parties a week usually. Your product doesn't change too much, yet you have to convince people that it's something they've never experienced on a weekly basis.
It's sales.
Huh?
And I hate sales.
Yeah.
It's sales, and I hate it. I hate
But
it.
it's not exactly sales like you would think of sales
But
of
you
a
still gotta
product.
sell it.
100%. You have to sell
Yes.
anything in life, though.
Yeah.
Everything in life is sales.
100%. I
Read a
agree
book
with you.
called To Sell Is Human by
Yes.
Daniel H. Pink. I don't know if you read it.
I've heard
Great
of it,
book.
yes.
Everything is about selling. So convincing you to come here, I had to sell you on coming, doing this interview.
Right.
So everything is sales. You
You got me out of the house.
Huh?
You got me out of the house.
Yeah, yeah.
And I haven't been out of the house in a long time.
I sold you something good, you see?
yeah, yeah. And I'm loving it. This is
Yeah.
great. I enjoy
Um,
this.
I appreciate it. I enjoy having you. So yeah, you were saying something about Eric Luck. You're going into Luck. Sorry.
Right. So, like I said, everybody wanted to do the whole, like, you know, all these catchy names.
Yeah.
And I said, well, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and I did a lot of things like that. Like, all right, I'll give you another one that I did that was very against the grain.
Yeah.
We made flyers. You remember? This is
Yeah.
the day when people gave out flyers.
Yeah.
But I said, we're going to do flyers that are going to be this big.
Yeah.
And you know why I did that?
Why?
Because it looked like a drink ticket.
Ah.
Guess what? People kept them,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Where if you gave them this big ass flyer, you know, 'cause
Yeah.
at the time everybody wanted these
Yeah.
grand flyers and like that folded out and they were like die cut. And I said, no, we're gonna do these little flyers.
Yeah.
And all the information
You
is gonna be on this.
100% missed your calling. I wouldn't say you missed it. You
No,
hit it on the mark. You were doing it.
I did it. I
But you could
enjoyed
have
it.
done. If you said you missed it, you could have done it for a big brand and made corporate money doing
Right.
it. But like, for what?
I got a lot of shit for people telling me like, oh, why do you have a picture of your face on your business card? Because who am I selling?
Yeah.
You're coming to hang out with me.
Listen, self promotion is the best promotion. And if you're not
Exactly.
selling yourself, who is?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. I mean,
That's the same reason why I would do these birthday flyer photos with me. And
Exactly.
but the thing is, I would
love
not.
those.
I appreciate
I love
you.
those. I love those.
But I also didn't want him. I didn't want it to be. I had an issue with putting a photo of myself because I didn't want to come across narcissistic either. So I always have
Right.
photos of myself,
Fine
like,
line.
making fun of myself.
Yes.
If you look at my photos, it's like getting punched in the face,
Yeah,
being
yeah.
hit with being a pinata, like random
And
stuff.
bringing your boys
Yeah,
in
because
on
you're
it.
not
Exactly.
narcissistic at all.
What's that?
I said, because you're not narcissistic at all.
I'm not smart ass. If you really know me, I'm not. Like everything I do is try to push forward my brand.
Yeah, yeah.
And my brand being outsiders for this.
Yes.
Man, kiss my ass, Bams.
I'm only busting your balls, man.
Yeah,
Only
yeah,
busting
yeah.
your balls.
Anyway, back to Eric.
And you know what? I'll say this. I love what you're doing with Outsiders.
I appreciate
and I
it.
wish that I wasn't as busy and I could participate in more.
I appreciate you for those that you've participated in already and your contribution. Like I said, Joey, I mentioned it earlier, but Joey's a huge part of Outsiders, especially our cycling events.
Yes.
And I know you always push. First off, this man is responsible for one of my biggest accounts ever. And maybe not financially, but it led to so much stuff. It actually led to me realizing I want to work with brands and led to this. So I bet you don't remember it. Do you remember the connection you made for me?
No.
MySpace.
Oh,
Rosalind.
Rosalind
So
at Hero.
yeah,
Ballroom.
well, the thing you reached out to me saying I'm working with MySpace, but
Now we're really dating ourselves. Because
Yes.
most people are going to be like, what the hell is my...
No, yeah, seriously. But wait, what the hell's MySpace?
Come
We're
on,
actually-
get out of here.
So MySpace used to be known because they also had a great music platform.
Right.
And they used to, I didn't know they produced live music events until you told me. And then they told me why we didn't know about it. They were having a hard time getting the right promoters, right venue. They were doing like China Club for a music event,
Yes.
and it wasn't right. And you connected me with them, and it ended up, first off, it was a great connection.
Yeah.
I loved doing music events, concerts.
Shout out to Rosalind. I
Shout out to
haven't spoken
Rosalind.
to her in years.
I speak to her once in a while, but she's killing
She
it.
got me the Black Eyed Peas.
She did.
She got me the Black Eyed Peas.
She's the plug. Like,
Yes. She got me the Black Eyed Peas when they were like right there about to blow up.
Yeah.
And I did an event at, I want to say it was either when it was Ruby Falls or Soul.
Yeah.
One of the two. It might have been Soul already. And this is when like Will.i.am was not Will.i.am yet.
Yeah.
And they hosted a party, and I got them for dirt cheap.
I mean, who she got us was the MySpace. Thanks to you, the introduction
Platform.
was.
Right.
Well, we did the first event we did with her was T-Pain's concert, his album release. And we
Yes,
did Ghostface.
I remember that.
Then we did Clips.
Yes.
We did, and then we did a bunch of artists, but those were the ones that really stood out to me. And
Right.
after the first one, where I crushed it, had the line around the block, Hero was packed. She let me, thank God she let me book the supporting acts to promote the event. So I would start booking the artists that I was working with, my DJs, my network, and
Right.
who went off. Shout out to Jasmine Solano. Shout out to
Yes, I remember that.
Donis, Adam Tensta in Sweden, K. Salaman Beatnik. Like, she let me put on these artists, the Retro Kids back in the day. Shout out to Armand Van Helden.
Yeah, Armand's the man, bro.
He was a legend, like,
Bro,
the Witch Doctor.
He was at. We did Strata for, I want to say, Metronome Strata went on for us for about maybe 9 years.
Yeah, I remember
almost
that
10.
party. You made a name. So there's always a few parties that allow you to make a name for yourself in New York City nightlife.
A lot.
For you, one of those was Metronome for sure. I
Yeah,
remember
that was one. Even though it was short lived, I'm not sure if you were ever involved, but Gustavinos was.
I remember
oh,
Gustavinos.
My
Yeah,
goodness.
I was never involved, but I remember it.
Yeah, but that was one that just made a lot of noise for us.
Well, Hero was one for me, thanks
see,
to partially to you, because I had developed a relationship with them separately. Actually, I have a funny story about Hero. I was doing Saturday nights at Hero, and legendary.
Gotta get Damon in here.
I know. So I was just about to bring up Damon, legendary Damon. Shout out to legendary Damon.
Shout out Damon.
He reached out to me saying there's one of his contacts, one of his friends wants to perform at our Saturday night. Our Saturday night was the bomb. It was called Old School. We had like Jazzy Jeff, Questlove, like all these old school hip hop artists DJing for us.
Right.
And she's like, she really wants to perform. She wants to perform. So I hit up my partners at the time, and I was like, listen, this artist, she's up and coming. She got a song that's gonna blow up. She wants to perform.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Khalees.
Nope. Nope. No. Because that's his best friend. But no, this is good still. So they're like, no, we don't know her. Our crowd is like, pop culture. They only go to things, artists they know.
Right.
So we have to decline it. I'm like, all right. So I go back. Like, they said no. I would do it, but they said no. Fine. A month later, they're like, yo, can you get her? Can you get her?
Yeah.
I'm like, I doubt it because you guys messed up. But I'll ask. I asked. No, she wants $50,000 now. You know who it was? Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga. And ever since then, I held that over their heads. And thanks to that, it sucked that we missed out on the opportunity, but thanks to that, I could book anyone I wanted after that. So I'd always be like, I want to book this. And we're not sure. Like, look what you do with Lady Gaga.
I trust you now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks to Damon. Shout out to Damon. But yeah.
I got a similar story.
Yeah.
When we did Crowbar After Work.
Yeah.
I think we knew each other at the time. We moved. It was a Thursday. It wasn't Tuesday anymore. We were doing Crowbar After Work Thursdays, and it was huge. It was.
We did the Thursday nights.
Right.
Again,
So
with Bill Spector.
Shout
out to Bill Spector.
Exactly. Shout out to Bill Spector. We were the precursor to your Thursday night.
Yeah.
And I decided I want to book this guy, Thick. At the time, he was only
I remember.
Thick.
I knew the
got
name because
so
I was
much
interning at New America Agency, and he went by Thick at the time.
New America?
New America. That's Andre Harrell and
Yeah.
and Brett Wright's company.
Didn't Liani work there?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll talk about it online. But go ahead.
Yeah. But no, that's how I knew him because they were pushing him. He was a new artist. He was
Right.
the son of a celeb.
Chauncey?
Who?
Chauncey Bell.
Yes, Chauncey. Yeah.
He's the one who brought him to me.
Really? No,
Yeah.
Chauncey wasn't there. I know
Yeah.
Chauncey, but
Yeah.
I didn't know he was.
Chauncey brought me.
Yeah.
Well, at the time they just called him Thick.
Yeah.
And
Pause on that name though.
yeah, exactly. I know, but
Pause
that's,
on the name.
but that's what he went by. And,
Yeah.
And that day we booked Pitbull.
Okay.
Right. I got a story about Pitbull too, and I'll give you that one. This is a good one. So we booked Pitbull and Thick and Robin Thicke and everybody that I worked with. Every single, I'm talking Eric Virgil, Fred Kula, all these guys were like giving me so much shit because they were like, Alan Thicke, growing pains. I was like, no, I said, this guy's the shit.
Yeah.
This guy's, you guys are gonna,
They shut it
all right,
down?
We'll do it.
Oh,
We'll
yeah,
do it.
okay.
No, we'll do it. And I got him for pretty cheap.
Yeah.
And we booked him, and he killed it.
Yeah.
Killed it. And then months later, everybody came back to me like, yo, you were right, bro. That guy. You know, it was kind of like cutting edge. Like if people knew, like I knew this guy was going to be an emerging artist.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like the fact that to have that ear, to have the ability to see future talent.
Right.
I think it's the same thing, the same characteristics you had to see the fact that a small business card was going to work. You know, it's just like being able to have a vision.
Right.
You know, and you had a great vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a good time the whole time around.
Yeah.
From beginning to the end. But
I got to about beginning and nightlife.
I got to give you the Pitbull story.
Let's hear the Pitbull story.
All right. So now we know Pitbull nowadays is a mega international star. So I was working at Show.
I remember Show.
All right. So we were at Show. I think it was Friday nights, and some of my buddies from uptown, like Washington Heights, were like, "Yo, we're coming down. We got this guy from Miami with us." And I was like, "Yeah, come through. I got you. You know, no problem." And they show up. I'm not even kidding when I tell you that, and you know this more than anybody. You show up with like 15 dudes and one girl. And,
the promoter's nightmare.
Yeah. And probably like 2 of them had shorts on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. At the time, shorts was you
and some had
Timbs
on too,
right? So I go outside, and this is one of my boys. I grew up with this kid, you know, and I'm like, Randy, what are you doing to me? He's like, nah, bro, this guy's the next thing, and I'm like, he's got a song. I heard it before. Yeah. So I talked to him. I said, you know, I was like, what do you guys want to do? Because you know what the deal was. Yeah. If you want to come in, you got to do the right thing. Yeah. And I was like, yo, you got to buy bottles. Yeah. And this guy tells me, yo, we don't buy bottles. This is Pitbull saying this to me. Yeah. We don't buy bottles, but we'll buy out the bar. We're from the Dirty. Yeah. And I was like, all right, we're done here.
Yeah. And he walked away?
No, they came in, but you know, eventually they came in, but it was just like, you know, they didn't want to buy bottles.
I mean, it's expensive. I understand.
I know. At the time, he wasn't Pitbull.
Right.
You know, and now I'm looking at it like, damn. You know.
You got to start somewhere, man.
Yeah.
So wait, we're talking like the middle of your promoter career life. How did that progress?
It progressed. You know, thankfully I did it at a young age, just like yourself. You know, and youth was on my side. Yeah. So I stayed relevant for a long time. I was kind of known as the guy who brought the Latin the Latin portion of it to the downtown scene. Yeah. You know, that's where we worked. And one of my favorite parties is one we did together. Manor.
Manor?
Manor was the shit, man.
I only did Manor like twice.
No, we were there for a little bit.
Were we? Yeah. I can't remember, man.
Yeah, you don't remember. Come on, it was me, you, Coltrane.
Shout out to Coltrane. That's right.
And who was at the door?
Was it Chad?
No, Chad did the door, but no, it was what's his name? Sam Sneed.
Oh, Sam Sneed. Shout out to Sam, who's killing it right now in the with his production company.
Yes, I hear good things.
Murdering it.
Yes. So Sam was our doorman, and Coltrane had just started Epiphany. Yeah. You were there for a while. I can't believe you don't remember. We did we got
How many
robbed.
thousands of parties did we do?
We got robbed.
Now I remember. Yeah.
We got robbed.
Yeah.
We got robbed by the club owners, but it was a dope party because we brought. I mean, Coltrane had like the fashion thing.
Well, It's
now you remember?
No,
it's all coming together now.
I remember the part. I remember the party. I didn't realize I was there that long. I've been going to a million clubs and parties.
I know.
But what you just said is a huge reason why it was such a dope party, and a huge reason why I think what I'm trying to do with Outsiders, is diversity.
Bringing it together.
Because remember back in the day, clubs were big, right? Yeah. Clubs were huge. You couldn't have now clubs became small, rents are too high, and so on. So on a specific night, it's one demographic for the most part. Right. So one night is going to be one kind of person, another night is going to be another kind of party, right? Right. Back then, you had people that were of all walks of life. So I use this as an example. I'm trying to bring 90s nightlife to the outdoors in the sense where you used to go to a club on a Saturday night and you would see the man in drag, the drag queen, talking to the hip hop heads, with also talking to the Bridge and Tunnel, the cuisines, you know.
But it goes further back than that. I mean, they were. Listen, I mean, do your research, bro.
No, that's what I remember. I'm saying from what I saw.
Mars nightclub. I was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a little kid.
I'm not saying that's the origin.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I remember,
No. But that was it. Like a place like Mars. All right. So Mars, which was in the meatpacking district before it was a meatpacking district.
I thought Lotus was the first place in meatpacking.
No.
Really?
No. Mars.
I'm getting a lesson right now.
Yeah, Mars, Horatio 113, all these spots. Get Bill on here. Get Bill on here and
Those
ask
gotta
him
come
these
to
questions.
Outsiders first
Yeah,
for him to
well,
be
we'll
on
get
this
him.
shit.
He's in shape now. So Mars was literally 5 floors, and every floor had a different genre of music.
Oh wow, yeah, but that's all the clubs are like that. Tunnel had what 3-4 rooms. There was a hip hop room. I was talking to Ellie Escobar about this years ago on Twitter.
Ellie's a good dude.
There was a flyer that said Crowbar. It said a main room, this DJ spinning this music, and it had Ellie Escobar spinning. I forgot what the name of the room was, playing hip hop in that room. And they put it on the flyer.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like back then, there was such an eclectic mix of people. Part of the reason the party you're talking about at Manor was so dope because there's such a mix of people: gay, straight, black, white, whatever,
celebrity,
walk of life.
non-celebrity.
Exactly, but that's all together in one place, and it wasn't
small
boring.
room.
And with Outsiders, it's the same thing. Like I recently put a post about it. Like, it's not just the fact that I like diversity because it makes it interesting. You get to see what someone's life is like, get a peek into what they have to say, what they're experiencing from a different walk of life, something that you have no idea about.
Right.
Race, sexual orientation, age, gender, socioeconomic status. Like that's something in New York is
It was so separated.
well, but in nightlife it wasn't.
Right.
That's the great thing about it. Whereas, I feel like in LA it's separate no matter what because there's no interacting. There's like you run into rich people in the subway in New York.
Right.
They don't have that in LA. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
So, is this coming towards the end of your nightlife days?
Yeah. No. Well, what I ended up doing was I was such a downtown guy for such a long
And
time.
were you a full-time promoter, or did you have a day job at the same time?
Well, when I was working in banking, I actually did so much in nightlife that I don't want to say I lost the job, but I chose promoting over working in banking. So eventually I was doing 6 parties in 5 days. So 2 on Saturday, and it was like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, I forget. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It was literally 6 parties in 5 days. And that went on for a while until I got into a serious relationship and decided that I needed to start doing something
Shout out to your wife, Janice.
Yeah.
Amazing human being.
My rock.
Well, are we okay? We're talking about her cancer survivor?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. Cancer free.
Cancer survivor.
Yes.
And I know that obviously that was a tough time for you. I remember you talking about it. I had a question about that written down actually. I wanted to know your wife
Became
is
a
cancer.
big part of our life.
Yeah. How long was she fighting?
Early detection was key. She was only 36 at the time.
Yeah.
So
and was it breast cancer?
Breast cancer, yeah. So early detection was key there, and finding out early and being able to nip it in the bud early was probably saving her life.
What was that? I mean, that you guys have a daughter together.
Yes. I also have a son.
Yes, an older son.
Yeah.
How old is your son?
You didn't get to meet him, right? He's gonna be 30 this year, bro.
I feel like your son's gonna be 30.
West Point graduate.
Yeah, really?
Worked for Facebook. He's now doing a project for Google.
What's his name?
Keandre.
Keandre?
Yeah, Keandre.
Shout out to
Chambers.
Keandre doing big things.
Played football at West Point.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, how do you play football? He's got to be bigger than you.
Yes. There's 2 teams at West Point. 185 and under and 185 and over.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost like, like Pee Wee and
Yeah.
But yeah, he's bigger than me obviously,
Yeah.
but there's 185 and under and 185 and
Wow,
over.
that's amazing. Big accomplishments.
Yeah.
And then your daughter, obviously, with your wife.
Yes.
What was that whole experience like? I mean, obviously,
It was tough.
Terrible, but
It was tough.
I remember I think I saw you moments while you were going through it. You know, how did it bring you guys closer? Like,
Absolutely. Yeah. And it brings us closer every day. The fact that she's now almost 4 years cancer free. We
Blessed.
celebrate it. Yeah, we're blessed.
yeah. That's amazing. And you listen. You kind of met her in Nightlife, right? But you knew to have a future with her, you couldn't stay in Nightlife, right?
Correct.
And you chose the right thing.
Yes.
What was it like?
We talked offline about I had the opportunity to work at Scores and as a host, and decided that I couldn't do it because she wouldn't stay with me.
No, well, listen, there's no future in that host work.
100%.
But there's a huge future with your wife, obviously.
Exactly. I chose the right path.
100% you chose the right path. But you did continue to do some Nightlife while you were with her and while you were married, but that was till end, right?
Right. So I started tapering off, and you know what? Towards the end of my tenure in the nightlife industry, I guess you could say I was almost like working remote, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of what we did as promoters was promote, back end stuff. So I did a lot of the back end stuff, and
Basic communications.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I got away from some of the hosting, and that's when I realized that I just got to get out because I enjoy the hosting. That was the part that I enjoyed the most. I enjoyed both the back end stuff and the hosting. I enjoyed the hosting way more than the back end stuff because the back end was
hard to do
work.
as a family man.
Right. So when you become a family man and you have to kind of like back off on doing the hosting part, it made it very difficult. You know, little by little, less and less people would come out. You know, I mean, I remember there were times where, you know, my birthday party was 300, 400 people that were there literally for me.
Yeah.
Where, you know, towards the end, you know, I was lucky to have 30, 40 people that were showing up for me for my birthday.
Right. I mean, people changed it. I mean,
and I say, we age out.
Yeah. You're interesting. Your story is interesting because military, banking, which I didn't know about.
Yeah.
You know, nightclub stuff, which is where we met.
Right.
And now you work something completely different. You work in the dock. Tell them what you do.
Stevedoring. I work in the stevedoring industry now.
Well, say it slower because I can't.
Stevedoring.
Stevedoring. Okay, that's a new word for me.
Yeah, it's an old school term.
Okay.
All right,
so what exactly is stevedoring?
So I manage operations with longshoremen, ILA which is union.
Explain what they do.
They are dock workers. Bottom line. Yeah.
So anything being imported into this country,
anything that comes on a ship has to be handled by a longshoreman, and those longshoremen need to be managed by a company guy like myself.
But what's incredible is the difference in how different every one of your jobs and careers were.
Right.
Military, completely different from anything else you've ever done. Banking, very different from that. IT and banking. Obviously nightlife.
Right.
How'd you end up doing this? Whatever that word is.
How did I get into the waterfront? Let's call it the waterfront.
Yeah.
So,
and when did you get into that?
2008.
While you were still throwing parties?
Yeah.
Knowing that you needed an exit strategy.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
It definitely was an exit strategy.
Yeah.
So I got married in 2006.
Yeah.
And by 2008, I started thinking, you know, I'm aging. I wouldn't say I was aging out of
How
the
old were you
business
at the time? How old were you in 2008?
2008. You're going to make me do math right now?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. Have another drink.
In 2008, I don't know. I was 30 something, 40. No, 40. I don't know, 40.
Yeah.
I'm 49 now.
Yeah.
I'll be 50 in February.
That calls for a party.
Yes.
You did the last few parties with me, actually.
I know.
Last few birthday parties.
I know. We need.
I may come out of retirement just for one night for you.
I may come out of retirement just to do my 50th birthday party.
What do you mean? May you have to?
I think I do.
It's a half century.
And that's it. And that's it. And
I guarantee you're gonna have a few hundred people there.
But that's it, though.
No, of course that's it.
That's it.
No,
that's
of course.
It. Like that. Like, you know, that closes that.
That chapter's been closed.
The chapter's closed. But then now you have to like write the, you know, the outro.
It's the send off.
Yeah.
The send off, right?
But the man is not dying. He's
No.
turning 50.
No.
That's like your midlife crisis, right?
Off.
You know, like.
Well, they say midlife is like in your 40s. So apparently,
I made it past that.
This is my midlife crisis.
I made it. Midlife crisis at 40?
No, your midlife crisis is between somewhere in your younger 50s up into your 60s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, I'm not there yet. You're about to be, my man.
I don't know about like I thought life expectancy went down nowadays. You know, I thought
well, then maybe it is 40 now. Who knows?
Well, we got to take better care of ourselves. How about that?
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean? Like healthier lifestyles.
So
And that leads us to outsiders.
exactly.
Healthier
There you go. What's
lifestyles.
funny is like you kind of you say aged out. You worked your way out of it. For me, Outsiders is a new club.
Yes.
You know, I mean,
And
but it's not.
We've
it's
had
not,
this conversation,
yes.
and I love that.
It's not age restricting,
Nope.
right? Because we have people that come in that are 21. We have people that come in at 70.
No dress code.
No dress code. no exclusivity.
Right.
Meaning you don't. I just got tired of being.
There's no genres.
Listen, I don't have to deal with like feeling like a piece of shit because somebody can't get into a club.
Right.
You know, I'm accepting everybody because that's what I love.
Yeah.
We're inclusive.
Exactly.
You know, so I feel like I'm doing
dope.
something that's so positive
dope.
that I feel good about it.
That's so dope. And that's why I love it, man. That's why I continue. Like I said, I wish I could do more.
No, but even when you don't show up, you're super positive. You're super supportive. Like you
Yeah.
always, I post something, you always share, you comment. So I appreciate you for that.
Listen, I'm glad that's enough. But I wish I could do more.
I wish you could do more too. I love to have you around more often. I know you will with time, and when you can, you do. So I appreciate it.
Well, you know what? Guess what? My daughter's 12 now,
Okay,
so she might be the next outsider.
she will be
She's
the next
gonna
outsider.
roll with us.
Once she turns 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. No, not
No.
18. No, because you got booze there. She can't.
Well, with you there, it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. As long as she has somebody keeping an eye.
Yeah.
on her. Deal.
yeah, done. So now you do this corporate job,
Yeah. I don't even know if you would consider. I mean, yeah, it's corporate. It's a corporate industry.
but I mean, you're not sitting behind a desk. Well, you kind of, but not entirely.
it's a blue collar job.
Yeah,
And I wear a white collar and a blue collar.
right.
Job.
Which is great.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause I feel like given your personality, having done nightlife,
Yeah.
being stale and stagnant behind a desk and pushing papers
Yeah, I
isn't your
can't do
style.
that.
So I
can't
think
do
this
that.
is a great way for you to find the middle ground.
Right.
Are you
It
happy
keeps
doing
me
it?
going. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
You know, I always joke that I manage a bunch of guys that make more money than me because they're union and
Yeah.
I'm non.
Do they?
Yes, they do. highest paid laborers in the United States. I mean, look it up.
Yeah,
Longshoremen.
longshoremen make bank, buddy.
Yeah, they make bank.
They
How
make
much
bank.
But
they
it's
make?
about hours. They make a lot of hours and a lot of guarantees where they're working 4 on, 4 off, and they're being guaranteed those 4 hours. So it's a little bit different.
Right.
So when you're ready to go into that industry, go on that side of the business.
No, sir. I think we'll be. My goal is to really grow Outsiders. Like we're right now we're in New York and Stockholm. I'm working on L.A. and Chicago. Hopefully, I don't like talking about stuff that hasn't happened because I feel like I'll jinx it. But not being superstitious, that's the goal. I think every person in a major city can benefit from being in the outdoors, being active, being social in a social environment that's not solely based on consumption.
My son's in Nashville. Let's go to Nashville.
We should just go to Nashville in general. I've never been, and I have friends there.
Dope, bro. I heard it's so
Yeah.
dope. I've
You haven't
never
been
there.
yet?
No.
There we go.
no.
Let's take a trip.
I know. I've never been. You been to Nashville?
No, I haven't, but I've been
Now
asked
I
to.
have a reason to be there now. He works for Google in Nashville, so let's go.
What's
bro.
funny? Our first interviewee was this guy was Patrick.
Yes, I saw that.
Patrick, he kind of spent time in high school in Nashville, and when I asked him a question about what his favorite city outside of New York, he said Nashville.
Nashville.
Yeah,
Let's go.
let's do it.
I'm ready. I got somewhere to stay.
Perfect. I'm there too on the couch.
I got you.
Awesome. My question to you is: you've done so many different things. Do you think the current job you have is the final destination as far as career goes?
Yeah.
And secondly, if you could do anything else, do you have any dreams? It could be career dreams, it could be personal dreams. What are dreams and goals you have that you'd like to achieve in your life?
Most people think I'm gonna say like own a nightclub, right?
No, I would think the opposite because you've experienced that. So why would you have the urge to?
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if you wanted to, but I don't.
You want to hear something crazy?
What?
You remember Suede?
Yeah.
Shout out to A-Town Sugarman. It's my boy.
Yeah.
We had the opportunity. Luck and I had the opportunity for a sweat equity deal there, and we turned it down.
At Suede before it became popular?
Before it was open.
Really?
Yeah.
Weren't they have like the guys from Backstreet Boys or NSYNC or something like that were partners?
Yeah, there was a bunch of people. Timbaland was a partner.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of people that were partners. And he came to us because we were kind of hot at the time.
Yeah.
And we were doing parties together. I did a lot of parties with A-Town. I did Derek Jeter's birthday party on his like rookie year with him, which was insanity.
I've heard stories about, I'm not going to say who I heard it from, but this girl was telling me about her roommate who was they were partaking in some crazy things at that party.
Right. That party was nuts.
Yeah.
I was just telling a story. Listen, I sat at a table with Charles Barkley and Edward Norton. I think that says it all.
Yeah, that's Nightlife in
We
New York
drinking
for you.
beers, chilling.
Let me see. I got some questions I want to ask before we wrap this up.
Go right ahead.
What is a dream that you have yet to achieve?
Dream I have yet to achieve. I own a home. I have a family. I'm at this table with Jeremy. Almost a dream. I would say at some point in my life, I'd love to run a marathon.
Yeah, that's actually a legit dream. I can't do it.
I
I've
would
had
love
back
to.
surgery. I can't do it.
Really?
10 years ago, I had back surgery, which is fine. I play ball. I'm active. I'm feeling great. But the one thing I probably can't do is run a marathon.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, maybe I could, but like I'm not trying.
Not
to.
even with like physical therapy or anything
I
like
do
that?
physical therapy nonstop to play ball.
Yeah.
But besides, I'd rather play basketball than run a marathon.
I hear you. Someday I would. I'd love to.
Then train for it. What's up?
I'm gonna. I'll do it with the outsiders.
You can. It's not gonna be me though. What is your most embarrassing moment
Most embarrassing moment.
of your life? Doesn't have to be Nightlife, but
My most embarrassing moment. Man, there's too many to mention. I mean,
Really?
I probably had one before I even got in here.
oh yeah. Well, we're not gonna mention that.
I mean, right now, off the top of my head, I couldn't think of anything. But yes, there's definitely. I mean,
Okay.
it's not embarrassing if you embrace it. Like,
Very true. That's a way to knock the embarrassing out.
exactly.
What have I not asked you that you'd like to share with the audience? Any fun facts about yourself? Anything about you that you want to share?
I was a break dancer when I was a little kid.
That's right. I knew that you were a breakdancer. You told me that
That's it.
once.
I love that, and that's one of my accomplishments.
Shout out to Crazy Legs.
Yes.
Yo,
Yes.
it's funny because I'm growing up in this area. You obviously you have to know about Rock City. You have to know about
course.
Crazy Legs. Someone I idolized,
Right.
and it was funny. Like he'll hit me up. We're friends now, and every time he hits me up, I'm still like, yo, Crazy Legs hit me up.
In
Same
awe.
with Bobito. Same with Stretch Armstrong.
Yeah,
all these
Bobito-
guys.
You want to hear something funny about Bobito from like the early days of Nightlife? Because we were the only two Puerto Rican guys that ran in like the downtown scene.
Yeah.
People just assumed we were cousins. I'm not even kidding.
Really?
I'm not even kidding. I'm not joking. And we're friends to this day.
Yeah.
And he has a song. Like if you talk to Bobito, he'll say, Eric Solar, cooler than a polar bear.
Really?
He says it every single time. And that's how we've been friends ever since.
I met him hooping when I'm playing ball.
He's dope.
I know. I met him when I was
I
playing
want
ball
my
in
daughter to meet
college.
him because of that.
Was that?
I want my daughter to meet because my daughter likes to play basketball.
Really?
Yeah.
I met him because I was playing in college and I got invited to this open gym down in Soho to play with like all the guys play D1 professional.
Right.
He's one of the guys there, and I remember going up to him. He's like, "Oh, he introduces himself as Bobito." I'm like, "Word, Bobito the barber." Hi. He goes, "Yeah, that's me." I'm like stretching Bobito. I was like, "Yeah, that's me." I'm like, "Oh shit, yo, man, I'm a big fan."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I hooped with him, and I was amazing back
Did
then.
you watch any of the documentaries?
All of them.
Dope.
And after the game, we started talking. You know, he liked the way I played. He shouted me out recently about my skills. And we were
Dope.
talking. And he's like, "Where are you from?" I told him I'm half Persian, half French. Oh, word, my girlfriend's Persian. So
Yeah.
we talked about like at the time he was dating a Persian girl. He's like, "We should go get dinner and stuff." I'm like, "Yo, I would love
Don't they
to."
have a kid together?
I don't think it's the Persian girl. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't want to put him on blast like that.
No.
Shout out to Bob.
Might be that.
So
And when I listen, going back to Mars, I'll say this: the 5 floors. One of the floors was a reggae DJ by the name of Adrian B,
yeah.
who later became Stretch Armstrong.
Oh yeah. I heard that's in the documentary. Stretching Bob.
Yeah, but to see, I lived that firsthand. So
Oh,
I mean,
You're older than
and
me,
that's
that's
how
why you did.
exactly.
I met
And those
Stretch
are my boys.
through
Stretch.
Nightlife, but we became friends through playing ping pong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What did you beat him?
No, I don't remember. But I don't think we actually played. I threw these ping pong events as like a holiday event because I didn't want to just do a holiday event, and he participated. He was nasty.
Yeah. Stretch the man.
He is. Shout out to
Stretch.
Stretch. All right, so we end every interview with a segment of 5 rapid fire questions.
Go for it.
All right. Favorite nightclub?
Favorite nightclub that I did?
Rapid fire, brother.
Oh, Shine.
Shine.
Yeah.
Okay, Shine. I remember going to one of your parties at Shine. With Liza took me there. That's the first time I met you. With
Come on.
Dennis.
Come on. Shout out to Dennis.
Shout out to Dennis. He goes by Jersey Dennis?
Yeah, Dennis.
Jersey Dennis.
Dennis Jersey. Dennis
Jersey, my
I just
bad.
left him.
Favorite city other than New York City?
Favorite city other than New York City? I'd say Miami.
Miami?
South Beach, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though it's not what it used to be.
Doesn't have to be in the States, by the way, but Miami.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, I've
No,
also
Miami-
had great
Miami-
times in London, but I think that Miami's a
Okay.
close second.
Hip hop or house? I know. Come on.
Damn, bro, that's hard. I'm gonna have to say hip hop.
Okay.
I mean, I was
We're
born
from the Bronx.
Yeah,
The originator, you know?
yeah.
Shout out to BDP.
Yeah.
If you could live or relive any decade, which would it be?
I would relive the 70s.
70s?
100%.
70s in New York City?
Yeah. I mean, in the Bronx.
Yeah.
I'd have to be in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Bro, I went to Park Jams and I saw Tito Puente play drums. My parents took me to a Park Jam in a school.
You witnessed the birth, not to the point, but you witnessed the birth of hip hop.
Yeah.
Firsthand.
100%.
That's amazing. Last question for you. What is your favorite food?
My favorite food is pizza.
Pizza.
I love pizza, bro. And you brought me to Union City.
Yes.
There's good pizza down here.
There's good pizza everywhere in the tri-state, especially in
Yeah.
Jersey. Ooh, we got pizza here. All right.
This is Sal's Pizza from West New York.
South Pizza from West New York?
Yeah.
Okay. And they're
Burger
known to
Line,
be good
Burger
pizza?
Line Avenue.
Shout out to Burger Line. Actually, me and Bam, well, I had the idea of shooting this concert that Bam inspired me for. It was shooting all the mom and pop shops on Burger Line that we grew up going to.
This is one of them.
This is one of them.
Gotta
I
be.
know. I
Sal's has been
do.
around
I
for a
remember,
long
I remember
time.
Sal's on Bergerland in West Neck. Hell yeah, man.
So we did a little photo project where Bam shot all these legendary, these old school mom and pop shops because I noticed that big corporate was coming in and renting out these spaces.
Right.
Like we're experiencing in New York. As soon as it's going to be all banks and pharmacies. So we did this photo exhibition. Well, he did it, and it came out amazing. So shout out to Bergen Line, Union
I
City.
hope Las Palmas made it.
Las Palmas?
Yeah, you know.
Actually, there's a shot of Las Palmas on there.
There is, yes.
Dude, how dope is that place?
Oh, hell yeah.
Pizza's a little cold, but pizza's good
Yeah,
cold
I mean,
too.
listen, that's what's dope about pizza is that even cold it's good.
All right, man. Cheers.
Salud.
Sal's makes great pizza.
Sal's is dope.
Yo, I want to thank you for being on the show. I feel like we could have talked for a lot more
I know.
time, but let's cut it short.
So many more stories.
We'll have you back.
Part 2.
We'll do part 2. Appreciate
ready.
you being on the show, brother.
My pleasure. I'm glad you had me.
Oh, yeah, well, I'll have you again. Pause. On that note, I'm hungry, so I'm out. Peace.